Good morning and welcome. It is 8 o'clock. Sorry. It is the 19th day of July 2021. The sun is out. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. It is time for the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, and sports for the week coming out of the G4 weekend. We can round up all the things that are going on in our world of role-playing and stuff. And the number one story is this nerds / D&D candy crossover thing. So I guess this was announced at G4. I must have missed it. I didn't watch all of it, and it was obviously very much glanced over, though that would explain all the packages of nerds that were on the tables. So first, if you're not familiar with what nerds is, it is a candy that has been around for at least since the 80s. I believe the company that claimed it was Willy Wonka originally made it. Yes, there was a candy company for a while that called itself Willy Wonka Candy and made candies. So they're these little multicolored, teeny little bits of sugar. They're not Pop Rocks, though they're about the same size. They sort of have flavors, but not really. It's just colored sugar. I actually, when the product first came out, you could send in box tops to get a stuffed nerd toy, and I actually had a stuffed nerd toy for a while, but then my dog ate it. I just thought it was cute. I mean, whatever. So they've been around for a while. Obviously, we're talking top tier candy. They're like, yeah, really down there. But so for some reason, Wizards of the Coast and whoever it is now making nerds, Hershey's, I guess, I don't know, have conglomerated. So apparently, starting in September, there will be specially marked boxes of nerds. And if you buy them, there will be a code for you to download a D&D adventure. So the adventure is not inside the box. It is a code, which, you could just go and take pictures of the code and you don't actually have to buy the candy. And yeah, I thought it would be inside the box, so you still have to buy it, but yeah. So it says, the nerds will soon enter the most epic pairing with Dungeons & Dragons, both fun and daring, a magical merger of camps that reign clever. We're better together now, better than ever. Look for the sweet partnership in store starting in September. Each purchase of a specially marked Nerds candy unlocks one of 7 custom D&D adventures. For full rules to redeem your D&D adventures starting on September 1st, go to nerdscandydnd.com, which we're on right now. The party consists apparently of Pink the Rogue and Blue the Wizard so far. Right now on the page, you can download wallpapers and some Twitch room emotes, and there's a little cartoon. Looks like all the characters will be Pink the Rogue, Blue the Wizard, Orange the Bard, Yellow the Cleric, Green the Fighter, and Red the Ranger, and Pink the Rogue. Now, a lot of people are saying about this, but come on. If this candy came out with this product when I was a kid, I'd buy it. And I'm sure most of you who are whining and crying about it, if this came out when you were a kid, you'd get it. Because it's candy, and it's got a D&D thing associated with it. And maybe they'll even do nerd figures, and if they do, I'm going to get them. So, yeah. Is this as blatant as the whole Wendy's RPG thing, which I had a whole hissy fit a year ago about? Of course it is. But at least Wizards of the Coast is being honest about it. Why did they charge nerds as the candy brand? Because we're nerds, which is a weird choice because you would think after everything that Wizards of the Coast Hasbro has done over the past couple of months, it does seem they're trying to break the whole nerds stereotype thing and make D&D hip and cool, but then they're associating with a candy called Nerd. I don't know. I don't even know why the candy called itself Nerds and not something else. I guess when the candy came out, all the good names were chosen. Anyways, this will be available September, and it does seem to be the number one story. Okay, so there is some other stuff going on in the gaming world besides Nerds that has come out of the whole G4 thing. There will be some figures from the Wild from the Witchlight thing. One is called League of Malevolence, and the other is called Valor's Card. These contains a whole bunch of characters based upon the 1980s D&D action toys and the cartoon. The League of Malevolence will include Warduke, Kellic, Skyla, and Zarek, the half-orc assassin, and Zargish, the evil cleric. Of those names, I only recognize two. Zargish sounds kind of familiar. But these are all from 1980s D&D things. From the Valor's Call thing, we have Stronghort the Paladin, Ringlin, who was the wizard from the cover of the 1983 AD&D Player's Handbook, Molivar, the good thief, Elkhorn, the dwarf fighter, and Maricorn, the cleric. Now I'm assuming... Oh, yeah, that guy. I see. Here's a picture of the Player's Handbook. So that's fun. I don't see any reason not to get them. They're D&D figures of classic iconic characters, and they're already pre-painted, and they're goofy. And you know I'm going to get the Warduke, because who doesn't love Warduke? Why not? What else is going on? Tons and tons of stuff out of post G4, including arts. For the thing, we have the Beatles and Grimm Platinum and Silver editions of the Wild Beyond the Witchlight coming out. We have tons of art that's available for the Fizbin thing, tons of art that's available you can look at for the Strixhaven thing, tons of art that's available for the Witch Art thing, alternate covers that are being posted. So yeah, if you want to see some art from these two products, those are all available on the Wizards of the Coast site or over on the Beatles and Grimm site, or just scattered around the interweb. Tons and tons of art. Another thing that's come out of that is a unofficial Dragonlance update called Tasselhoff's Pouch of Everything. This is not from Wizards of Coast, but this is from the Dragonlance Nexus, which is a fan site for Dragonlance, which is updating all the Dragonlance stuff to 5th edition. Now, of course, the big thing, was the announcement of Fizbin's Book of All Things Dragon, and the hemming and hawing. Does this mean we will see a 5e Dragonlance book come from Wizards of the Coast? But apparently the Dragonlance Nexus has decided to jump ahead and make their own. So if you want to see some 5e updates for all things Dragonlance, you can go over to the Dragonlance Nexus website and check it out. Another big thing, controversy, I don't know why this is a controversy, is apparently one of the things in the book is that Paladin and Bahamut are the same, and Takeshi and Tiamat are the same individuals. Bahamut being the platinum dragon of D&D lore, Tiamat being the chromatic dragon of D&D lore and the D&D cartoon, Paladin being the god of good dragons and dragonlances, and Takesis, I am saying that wrong, Arcady. Takhis, Takesis being the evil goddess of dragons and dragonlance, and controversy that Wizards of the Coast is saying they're the same. Weren't they always the same since Dragonlance was based upon a D&D campaign? Yeah, I mean, did anybody ever think they weren't the same individuals? Why is this controversy? They're the same. Okay, so yeah, what else is going on in the world of D&D and role-playing that isn't a response to this weekend? All right, so we have the crowdfunding has begun for Zeitgeist, called Death of Author. Zeitgeist was a 5-part module series that won a lot of rewards and got a lot of good press last year from a company about doing some D&D adventure path ideas. So that's interesting. We have an article about called the Mephit Network, which is an idea of how you could use methods to deliver mail in D&D, which is an interesting question because, I mean, that's like one of those things you never think about. Like, how is mail delivered in D&D? I could say, like, using small flying monsters, I guess. I mean, you got the owls from Harry Potter, so why not? Of course, it was announced that Fizbin's Treasure of Dragons will be the October release of D&D's books coming out this year. There is some issues with it because the individual who is behind this product is the same individual, the same mastermind who brought us 4th edition and all the things associated with 4th edition. So, yeah, I know people are excited about this because new dragons, new dragon subclasses, new dragon feats, new dragon magic items, new dragonborn things for your dragonborn is like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Sort of disappointed that, considering they're calling it Fizbin's Guide to All Things Dragony, that Margaret and Tracy and the Dragonlance people aren't behind it, or at least associated with in some way. Instead, it's the 4th edition guide, but whatever. Wizards beat Wizards of the Coast beat Wizards of the Coast. And it looks like the price is going to be about $50. Of course, we also had the pre-release of the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering set over this weekend. We did a rundown of all the cards. The 3rd of the adventures is available over on the Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering site. It's called the Hidden Page. That is part 3 of the 5 adventures that tell the story of this planeswalker who visited the Forgotten Realms a couple years, in the past, and now currently in the present. How what that individual did in the past is affecting the present of the Forgotten Realms, and multiple individuals who are trying to capture, learn from, rediscover, etc. Say what you will, positive, negative, and Lord knows I say a lot of negative things about Wizards of the Coast. Occasionally, they toss something out that's kind of cool. And this adventure, so I've read the first 2. They're decent, and I do like the idea of acknowledging the past, of something happening in the past, and of characters and NPCs reacting to previous things. That's something you don't see a lot in adventures, especially with, the vast amount of history the Forgotten Realms has, is, the follow-up. I mean, adventures that deal with the follow-up, or at least mention the things that have happened in the past of the Forgotten Realms. And this is doing it. It was another thing with the weird black obelisk that ran through all the 5e adventures up to Rime of the Frost Maiden was this mysterious subplot. What were these weird black obelisks? So that's another thing that occasionally, the Wizards of the Coast adventure writers do something that's actually kind of cool. Keith Baker has written a crossover Eberron and Ravenloft adventure called Dread Metro Into the Mists. It's only available in the DM's Guide. Keith Baker did write it, which means DM's Guild, not DM's Guide. DM's Guild being the website, DM's Guide being the book. I'm sorry. I need more caffeine. I also think I'm getting a cold. You don't care. It's available over on the DM's Guild. An Eberron Ravenloft crossover. It's not official, but Keith Baker did write it, and it is 5e approved. So, speculating what you will, that this might be another baby step towards the announcement of Planescape. Okay, we have the nominees for the Diana Jones Award. The Diana Jones Awards is for just excellence in gaming in various different subjects. The nominees are Big Bad Con's 219 Babble on Equity Project and POC Programming, The Game Crafter, a print-on-demand manufacturing service, Nib Card Games, a game publishing company based in Nigeria, my boy Mike wow, I do need more caffeine. My boy Mike Poundsmith is founder of Archer Solian Games and designer of Cyberpunk, Session Zero Online, an online tabletop gaming convention, and Wingspan, a board game designed by Elizabeth Hargrave. Wingspan is cool. I've played it. A Avatar the role-playing game quick start version is available. Magpie Games is doing an Avatar the role-playing game. And if you want to check out the quick starter, you can go to the Magpie Games website and check it out. It's a 55-page PDF featuring all the things you need to at least get the quick start. And it is not D&D. It is powered by the apocalypse. So if you've noticed that some of the things I said that are supposed to be shipping aren't shipping, that's because apparently there are some international shipping crosses going on. This is the ripple effect from COVID-related shutdowns that started a year ago. Now there's boats that are, technically a year behind from leaving the docks where the printing is overseas and stuff. And there's, still so many things about what the CDC will let leave the dock and what won't. So there's boats and just stacks and stacks of shipping containers just sitting ready to go. But because of this whole thing, they can't leave yet, or they're stuck or whatever. So, yeah, the best way to look at it without getting too complicated is just shipping is a year behind. So anything that we thought was going to come out has to sort of jump this ripple effect of, a whole entire year where they couldn't move. And finally, in the story that will never end, TSR Games. We will never know what really went on. But it seems to be that it just can't keep itself out of the news. And as one person once said, it's like that loose tooth in the back of our mouth. We can't stop wiggling with it. I have called this the Cardassians of tabletop role-playing game, or, a car crash, because we just can't watch it. So say what you will, they're staying in the collective unconsciousness. So, okay, here's what we know so far. Stephen Deinhardt announced that he has resigned as Chief Creative Officer at TSR and planned to take Giantlands with him. The Twitter account for TSR3 and the website changed branding to Wonderfilled, and they did eventually fix a spelling error. Following this, TSR Games released a press release that the person previously in charge of the social media accounts was no longer with the company, and TSR3 was working to recover their accounts. Also, that they were not responsible for anything that was printed and posted on those accounts, including the whole rant that Gary Gygax went on. And the TSR Games account has changed its names to WFD accounts. Based on what appears to have happened is that Stephen Deinhardt was asked to leave, was fired, or decided on his own to resign from TSR LLC, which is owned by Justin Lanas and Ernie Gygax. However, Deinhardt was the owner of Giantlands and has administrative access to the TSR Twitter account and website. So he changed both the social media accounts and the website to match the branding of a company he already owned, Wonderfilled Incorporated. Meanwhile, TSR LLC, aka TSR3, owned by Justin Lanas, still exists, but no longer has product to sell, as they have pulled all mention of the new edition of Starfinder, and all the other things they said they were going to do, and no longer have the rights to Giantlands. It should be restated that above that this is all speculations based upon the available evidence and what each party has said, but we will never know for sure. This month-long saga has been documented in multiple stories, including on my site, and the great TSR trademark war possibly will never end. So there's TSR 2, which is now Solorian, TSR 3, which is now Wonderfilled, and TSR 3.5, which is whatever Lanasa and Gygax are going to do with whatever Gygax still owns the rights to, I guess. The ever-speculated, ever-promised memorial tomb that we've never actually seen, and the hobby shop dungeon stuff. Or not, I don't know. Everything I could say, take with a grain of salt in regards to the TSR thing, which is why I saved it to last. So yes, our best story of the week being D&D candy, and I know people are complaining about this, but come on, if this D&D nerd candy came out in the 80s when you were a kid and I was a kid, you'd buy it. I know I'd buy it. Of that, the only thing I'm really excited about is the Warduke / D&D iconic figures. Those are things that could be fun to have. And still the possibility with Witchlight that we might see some creepy circus figures, and maybe even like one of the like $100 creepy circus tent setting, I would be excited to see creepy circus figures come out of Witchlight. We haven't really had a decent creepy circus stuff since Horror Clicks. Maybe some stuff has come out from Malhaven that was creepy circus, but I would love to see some D&D size pre-painted creepy circus figures, which would be, you could use for any game. You couldn't not just D&D, but you could use creepy circus in horror. You could creepy circus in superheroes. You could have creepy circus in space, creepy circus in the Old West. They did creepy circus figures. They would be great for any game, and they, whatever. I'm going to stop talking now because apparently my brain's not working. If you appreciate this content, please let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by whenever. Till next time, stay warm, stay dry, stay happy, stay healthy, stay awesome, stay off my land. I will talk to you later. Nerds Candy, September 1st. Who knew?